I wonder if it's going to be acceptable for me to be wearing a top hat and a monocle coming up at the press conference for Tuesday's game when I'm boots on the ground. Or in this case, I might have to be something like dress shoes on the ground. Something more formal, a tuxedo, a monocle, a top hat, and well attired. But I must go to perhaps the men's warehouse to go and get myself to my best tailor and go and get myself a white tuxedo for it is white hot. Because that's what you do when you get a gentleman's sweep, is you dress very gentlemanly with your mint juleps, your pipes, and your monocles and your top hats. Very formal, good chaps. I'll see all of Heat Nation gather round on Tuesday for a grand farewell to Trae Young and the Hawks. That today was a hell of a performance, everybody. Listen, it was extra gentlemanly. You know, I predicted sweep going into this thing. I said Heat in 4. I wasn't going to be a gentleman about it. But look, far be it from me to keep anybody from being polite. And if the Heat wanted to be polite and, you know, give the Hawks a wacky home win by a couple of points with Trae Young hitting a broken floater to give the little Hawks fans, the 40% of them that are there that don't chant "Let's go Heat," if they wanted to be gentlemanly about that, well, far be it from me to judge, dude. Who am I to get in the way of manners? You know, like you gotta respect a good host. That's what gentlemen do. And then after you show them some courtesy, then the real action starts. And there were some questions going into tonight. You know, you had a big health swing into this series. Everybody was fawning over Clint Capella coming back to the Hawks, his first playoff appearance. And, you know, he had a bad-looking injury in the play-in game, so you're wondering if he was ever going to have this moment. And then with Kyle Lowry, we didn't talk about this, but Kyle Lowry hurt his hamstring in Game 3, wasn't there for the closeout of it, so there's extra gentlemanly in that case too, where the Heat didn't have their assassin, who's been, I think he's been plus 51 so far in the series, and setting everybody up. So they had to get a little bit interesting tonight. You know, no Kyle Lowry, Gabe Vincent, you figured was going to get the start, and it was you had a little bit of a runski there from the Hawks, and things just clamped down in that second quarter for your Miami Heat. Hawks got up 7 at one point, and things just completely flipped on their head. It goes to a few things. First of all, Jimmy Butler was absolutely fantastic tonight. Another playoff Jimmy performance. We are definitely seeing a guy who is super, super aggressive. He is attacking the basket. He is catching the matchups that he wants to catch. He's aggressive on defense. He's looking for those steals, those turnovers. He was just doing it all today. We saw one of those Jimmy Butler threes that all of a sudden are becoming a thing in the postseason. He's definitely been looking for that shot more, and from the looks of it, definitely seems comfortable taking it as well. This guy has been sensational in this series from jump, not only with how he's doing things defensively, but obviously everybody wants to see an aggressive Jimmy Butler. It's a marvel to behold. We've seen this back in the 2020 playoff run when they went to the finals. We know what this guy's capable of, and it looks like he's tapping into a lot of that here this series, really bullying a lot of people on the Hawks. He looks absolutely dominant. He looks like he is having fun out there. He looks like he knows he's the best player on the court, which a lot of people were saying that was Trae Young this series. I would say that would have to be put to bed, to rest, and probably not spoken of for a while. You know, because I think I saw a poll today, CBS Sports or something like that. They had like 2,000 votes, and it was like, who has the best player in this series, Hawks or Heat? I think it was like 87% of the people said the Hawks did, because they have Trae Young. But Trae Young showed you today, dude, like this Heat team, the way they have been badgering him with multiple bodies. Today, a lot of it was PJ Tucker. Couldn't shake anybody loose today. He was doing the thing today where he was just taking threes from like another county in Atlanta. Like he wasn't even trying to be in the building. His shot chart was crazy. Didn't even want any part of the rim. And this is funny coming from a guy who was sitting there belly aching about the team being too physical. And it looks like they really did finally break him. Like because he wasn't even going to try. He was just like, you know what? My best course of action here is I go out there and I just chuck up shots like this is the cryptocurrency contest at FTX Arena. Like, let's just see. And he had a few of them. He had a couple of them wacky ones, 3, and that was it. Nothing in the paint. Nothing that could collapse the defense. Nothing to put the fear in the Heat's heart at all. We saw a little bit of that in the fourth quarter. And I would say outside of the fourth quarter of Game 3, this Trae Young has been bottled up and has been completely neutered by this defense. I mean, he has needed his safe word. He is out there shouting pineapple left and right because he doesn't know what to do. He doesn't know whether it's Gabe Vincent, PJ Tucker, Kyle Lowry, Jimmy Butler, Bam Adebayo, whomever the Heat throw at him. He is just he just looked fried, and they looked fried by the end of this game. They had their moment. Good for them. They had a wacky comeback with the Heat's point guard who was dropped out in the middle of the game in Game 3. They got their comeback. Very gentlemanly of the Heat to do that. And this puppy's going to be wrapped up on Tuesday. I'm thinking I'm going to have a penguin suit, like I'm going to be having the tails that come from my tuxedo, just so we can look formal, We got a lot of these Heat and Fives coming up, dude. A lot of parties are coming up. And you just want to be dressed for the occasion. You just want to be dressed for the occasion. The other big guy tonight, before we get into the most interesting storyline I think of tonight, which was Victor Oladipo. The other big guy tonight was PJ Tucker. PJ Tucker. What can you say about this guy that would do him justice for how much he brings to the table from just a toughness standpoint, his defense, how he moves, the clutchness that he has, the confidence that he has when he moves with the ball. I mean, today he had Trae Young switched on him on one possession. He bullied Trae Young to the basket, hit that patented little sweet shot put shot that he has, and hits him with the, too small, which is, I gotta say, one of the most demeaning things in sports when the basketball player just hits you with the, just a wee bit too small there, Trae Young. I don't know why I'm turning PJ Tucker into a leprechaun, but the point is, he was rubbing it in because it was not only that he was tenacious on defense and that Trae Young couldn't score on him, but then he was going and getting buckets on Trae Young on the other side of the court. Just has to be extra demoralizing for the Hawk star and everything that he brought to the table. And so, yeah, exciting for them. They got Clint Capella back. They couldn't hit the broadside of a barn. And by the way, DeAndre Hunter came out and he was I think he was like 4 for 4 to start the game, hitting crazy shots out of his butt. I'm just like, this ain't gonna last, dude. Come on. This is not going to last. This is crazy, the rate that he's gone out there. And they really didn't go on this monster lead against Miami. Miami did a lot of their damage from the free throw line today, which has been a big theme of the series. But they have made a point of it. They have been very physical getting to that line and trying to really, really punish it, and specifically Jimmy Butler. Jimmy Butler is been putting in that work. They also missed a lot of free throws today. They missed 9 free throws. Where you look at a game where it was the Heat shot 21 and the Hawks shot 20, but I mean, just missing them. Misses Bogdanovich missing free throws. Kevin Huerter was missing a free throw. It was very strange from their standpoint. Jimmy Butler 11 of 12, clutch as it gets, steady as she goes. But PJ Tucker, dude, like I put out this quote, and it was from a Barry Jackson article from, I don't know, I want to say this was December this story came out. And, PJ Tucker told this story to Barry Jackson where he says, the other day, Pat Riley pulled up beside me at a traffic light. I didn't know it was him. He rolled down the windows and goes, I love you, and drove off. I sat there at the light for like 7 seconds. That just happened the other night. I'm like, all right, Pat. That story's Goosey's galore, dude. The Pat. Did you see, like, the Godfather rolls it up? Power window goes down. PJ, I love you. Which I will say as an aside, this winning time, I've been not caught up all the way in the last episode, but this Pat Riley is the best character on the show. He really is. He's badass. Shout out to Adrian, hell's dude's name? Brody, for doing the role. Yeah, he's done a good job so far. I love mustacheless now Pat Riley. He's morphing into Armani Pat Riley. Very, very great. But PJ Tucker was just such a menace. Such a menace. Trae Young has to be having the night terrors just thinking about PJ Tucker and that haunting voice in his sleep. just PJ Tucker rasp in his ears while he just tosses side to side. And I think he wakes up in a cold sweat, and he's thinking, what do I do? I can't. Oh, I know. I'll shoot from 50 feet. Maybe that'll work. Really, really great. But I really thought that in a lot of ways, the most interesting thing of today's storyline was Victor Oladipo. Victor Oladipo, which is this is really funny because we were talking about this on the radio show on Friday. There was a story from Skip Bayless that had come out where Skip Bayless, who decided to just break NBA news all of a sudden again, and he's like, I was told that Jimmy Butler flat out told Eric Spoelstra, I will not share the floor with Victor Oladipo. Very strange report. Now, I do think that Jimmy Butler had some conversations with Eric Spoelstra about what he wants on the floor with him, and I do think that there were probably discussions, not just with Jimmy Butler, but probably discussions of we should roll with the dudes who brought us here. Gabe Vincent, Max Strus. Give me a little bit more Max Strus because I really like playing with him. And Victor Oladipo, okay, we kind of need to put this experiment to the side for a little bit. He doesn't look quite ready. But do I think there was disdain between Jimmy Butler and Victor? No, I don't. I just think people kind of took it and ran with it. And so it was funny today because Vic goes and has this game where it wasn't really about the scoring. You know, like it was one thing, like I had somebody hit me up and I was just like, man, Vic's everywhere, dude. He was playing, you could just see it from jump. Victor Oladipo was out there playing his ass off. He was just going and getting every day. He was flying through the air with that pterodactyl wingspan and going and getting every rebound that he could. It was the thing that I just noticed the most about it. Was not, normally the thing that always stands out to you with Vic is just that he's obviously just such a tremendous elite defender. But he was just flying up there with wingspan, tipping balls, getting extra possessions, taking possessions away from the Hawks. He was everywhere. And in his first 8 minutes, he was a plus 20. It completely swung the energy of the game, dude. That second quarter where the Heat outscored him 30-15, Vic was a plus 20 in 8 minutes. It completely swung things for Miami. He was such a jolt of energy just from the way they were playing. You could just see like the Hawks were starting to get loose. They were starting to get to the cup a little bit. They were getting some second chance points. And they just needed something to get them going. And Victor Oladipo was it. He was the secret sauce. He played great. Caleb Martin right beside him. They were bringing hell to these Hawks, man. And you could just tell by the third quarter they completely checked out, and they were done. They wanted no more. They wanted no more of this physical defense all over the place. And so the interesting thing becomes, because Vic looked fantastic, and you look at his box score, you'll say, Tobes, he was a 6 and 8 and 4. It's not that great. 3 of 10 from the field. I'm telling you, dude, first of all, I thought he looked fantastic moving the ball to his teammates, which is, I think, been the thing that was holding him back the most. He just didn't look like he was up to the same speed as everybody else. I'm really not worried about Victor Oladipo's offensive touch. I think that's going to come. I think we saw with that beautiful drive to the basket he had with time winding down. This dude is smooth as it gets, and he really just has the bag, man. He really, really does. And I really think that this guy, you could just see he's got special talent. He does. And it's going to be interesting to see what they do here with him. And I think the Kyle Lowry thing, I personally think you go and you try and win Game 5 without Kyle Lowry. I think you do yourself a world and him a world of service by trying to win this game. He goes out there and he gets extra rest, because you're probably then thinking about, I don't know, when would that series start? Like this weekend, probably. I mean, if a nightmare scenario, there was a Game 7 scheduled for Saturday. So I don't know how that works. I don't know if they got to wait for everybody to wrap up. I don't know if they got to then schedule it after. But let's just say the series would start Monday. It's next Monday. Let's say it's Sunday at the earliest. You're talking a full week's rest, more than a full week's rest for Kyle Lowry, as opposed to just bringing him back. And, I saw the quotes where he said he was pissed and he's a Wolverine and he doesn't want to. I'm glad that he didn't play today. Because you should be able to beat the Hawks without him. They've beaten a lot of teams without Kyle Lowry this year. And I've said this going into the series, I said this after the game 1 win, and I said this after the game 2 win, is that beating the Atlanta Hawks is a must for the Miami Heat. It is not a great accomplishment. It is not something that you have to really hang your hat on. You have to beat an 8 seed play-in team, and you have to beat them down. You need to humble them and say, we are sorry we even thought we should show up to this series. You are the 1 seed. You have been the 1 seed in the Eastern Conference basically all year. This is TCB, dude. So you should be able to beat the Atlanta Hawks without Kyle Lowry. Just like, other teams, like I would say Phoenix, you should be able to go beat the Pelicans without Devin Booker. You have enough. You have one of those complete rosters in basketball. So to me, I really hope that they can go and win this game 5, give Kyle Lowry the extra rest, and have them all set for the Philadelphia 76ers. But it was a nice little added bonus that the Sixers are also going to be gentlemanly here. But they have some big problems. I mean, listen, Joel Embiid has that thumb injury. He is that's no bueno for them. And James Harden does not look good. He does not look good. And so then all of a sudden you're like, do we trust James Harden to carry the load here with a banged up Joel Embiid? And, hopefully you get more from Tyrese Maxey. We'll see. We'll see how it rolls, dude. We'll see how it rolls. But, yeah, I really want to see them try and win this next game. And I would hope that opens up more opportunities for Vic. There's something about him, too, where it's just like everybody here seems like everybody just seems like they're rooting for the story, right? Like this guy's wanted to be on the Miami Heat for a very long time. The vibes were out there. It was very clear with what he was trying to put out there as far as where he wanted to be. And plenty of people would have wanted Victor Oladipo. I'm talking like pre-injury. But there was always that Miami connection. Part of it was D. Wade. Part of it was that he lived down here. And I'm just happy for him. I'm happy that he got that opportunity to showcase that tonight. I think that he's been clear that he wants to be playing more and all that type of stuff. But also, that dude is so supportive. He is always up there jumping up and down for his teammates. The old enjoy each other's success. He should be the poster child for that. And he's been great. He was great today. He really, really was. It was, for me, best players, if I had to rank him on the Heat today, Jimmy Butler, obviously number 1, PJ Tucker number 2. And then I would put Victor Oladipo at 3 with like honorary, unless you want to go with Gabe Vincent, the Strus contingent as like 3. But you want to put Vic 3 or 4. To me, it was the most interesting thing of today's game was what Victor Oladipo was able to bring to the table and making decisions a lot harder. As far as concerns with the Heat, like the only 2 I would really go with, I would say Bam played okay. He got into foul trouble again. He finished with 14 and 8, so we still haven't had a real. I would say we have not had an A game from Bam yet. I would say that this was better from what was what's been a pretty lackluster series from him. One of them that he was in foul trouble in the home game, and he was frustrated with that. That was the game afterwards where Trae Young was complaining about the calls, and Bam was like, that's kind of ridiculous. I was in foul trouble. PJ was in foul trouble. But it was better. Tyler Hero didn't do anything for the Heat today. He was 1 of 8 and had 3 points. Didn't really give you much there. So the Kentucky boys, I think that also speaks to is like this Heat team has really handled the Hawks quite soundly and have done it with Jimmy Butler being amazing, PJ Tucker being amazing, and Kyle Lowry being now hurt a game and not really that fantastic offensively. And I would say that they really haven't gotten a lot of punch from their next 2 most important guys. If you were to say best player on the team, Jimmy Butler, I would say next 2 would probably be in the next 3 is in the order of Kyle Lowry, Tyler Hero, and Bam Adebayo. And those 3 guys really haven't given you an A game yet. I think Tyler was better in game 3, but today that wasn't what it called for. Today was this has been a series too where the calling card for Miami is going to be what they were going to do on defense. This is a very potent Atlanta team. They really can score. They can score in pretty crazy ways. They're fast. They got a lot of athletic guys. So, maybe this matchup doesn't work for Tyler. Bam's a little bit of a weird one to me because this is a team that doesn't have a traditional big. I mean, he's going up against John Collins most series, going against Clint Capella today. And, he had some really good second chance dunks and things like that. And was certainly physical on the boards tonight and causing it. And he had a lot of tip rebounds too, where things weren't just necessarily him getting possession, but forcing it to somebody else. So that I like from Bam's activity. But yeah, getting in foul trouble again was frustrating. And he had this one drive in a Kongwu where you're just like, man, but why can't Bam go downhill like that more often, dude? I would say I want to see that from Bam at least 3 times a game, where he's bringing the ball up down the court and just go make a move on their big man, because they're never able to keep up with him. They're always shocked by it, and they never see it coming. It's crazy to me. So I would just say the only downside of this win and so far this series has been pretty ho-hum play from Bam and Tyler. And so you can look at it 2 ways. Just like, well, you can take the pessimist view, which is like, boys better pick it up. Or you can say the optimist is like, man, they're working a playoff series and they really haven't gotten an A game from their two young studs yet. So I am not worried. I'm not concerned about them yet, but it definitely has been noticeable. It has been noticeable. Bam was better today than he has. I think today was his best game of the series easily. But Tyler had an offensive stinker, but you got so much from everybody else. Max Strus was hitting shots from the moon today. He was letting it rip. He took 14 3-pointers today. That dude ain't. That is why he's in the starting lineup over Duncan Robinson, who plays 9 minutes today, where Duncan is like, should I take a shot? Should I not take a shot? Max Strus is not. Max Strus was trying to out Trae Young with some of the shots he was taking. He was just like, F it. One of them will go in. He got 4 of them. So, dress nicely. Everybody get themselves nicely dressed for the game coming up. There was another great moment, by the way, after the game where Vic gets to the podium. He's finishing up, and he goes, by the way, Jimmy Butler's walking. He goes, Jimmy wants me to tell everybody how much he hates me. So Jimmy hates me, everybody. And then they give an embrace. And Jimmy Butler was asked about it afterwards. And look, he's like, I don't know where that comes from, that I go to Eric Spoelstra and I tell him. I don't do that. So big L for Skip Bayless, I would say, that story, whether it was true, untrue, it does not matter, because, Victor Oladipo and Jimmy Butler were passing to each other. It did not look like they were giving each other dirty looks. That was like the old Windhorse thing where he wrote the story about LeBron and D-Wade where they're not really friends. They're friendly, and there's a lot of side eye going on. I'm just like, oh, all right, man. What are we talking about here? Huh? So that was a funny thing that got cleaned up from this series and the drama going into this one. So now we dress in formal attire. We be very gentlemanly about this. Everybody get yourself ready. I'll be boots on the ground on Tuesday. Wear your damn white to the game. Be there on time. And let's move on to the next series, huh?